Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. Ronnie Rantz alongside TK Tommy Krysan, who's over at Court Street Cafe having a great breakfast over in Port Allen, just less than 5 minutes across the Mississippi River Bridge from downtown Baton Rouge. Is Court Street Cafe in downtown Port Allen? You got to go check it out. All right, so New Orleans Saints wrap up their campaign. Uh, just think, Tommy, I'm losing. I'm the Saints fan. We're losing 13-0 to the Titans on the road, who just won the week before. The battle of the two top rookie quarterbacks. If the Saints lose that freaking game to the Titans, they finish with 5 wins, and this guy cashes a decent sized ticket. Typical typical Saints fashion. Great. They won that game. Means nothing. The most important thing was the Saints lost to the Falcons. And you say, "Well, I don't want the Saints to win." No, no, no. You do. You want the Saints to lose that game, and they did, because they're going to get the fourth place schedule, Tommy. It's more important even than the eighth pick in the draft, which is what they're going to be. Had they only won 5 games versus 6 games, they'd only been able to move up 2 spots. So it wasn't that big of a deal whether you're picking sixth or eighth. But the fourth place schedule is what the Saints what they accomplished by that loss to the Falcons.
Yeah, and that's very important, as you said, and especially as the Saints continue to rebuild, they'll have an easier schedule than had they finished third or second on paper and according to opponent, win-loss records, all of that. So that's a plus for the Saints to finish fourth. I think it's okay to get the eighth pick. There could be some value there. Maybe move up a little bit, move down, whatever they decide would be best. So 6-11. You know those wise guys in Vegas who in August said the over and under on the wins is
Oh,
five and a
man.
half. They're right. Those guys are pretty sharp, as we know, and we know that. But so we'll see how the rest of the offseason goes for the Saints.
Yeah. Hey, look, the Saints. It was a good game. It's an entertaining game. I wonder if the Carolina Panthers. I wonder what kind of care package they're going to send the Atlanta Falcons, because of course Carolina's needed Atlanta to win the division. And Tampa needed the Saints to win the division. It was the first time something like that had happened in a long, long time. Back in the late '70s, the Steelers got into the playoffs by virtue of a similar scenario where they needed a team to win on the last day to win the division, and they did. And the Steelers sent, I want to say it was the Browns. They needed. I forget if it was the Browns who won. Whoever won, the Steelers team bought them all the players individual briefcases. So they sent like these nice briefcases back in 1977 to each player for the team at once. I would imagine that the Panthers will do something ceremonial for the Falcons just as a thank you. Even though all these guys are making tons of money, they don't need a briefcase, but I'm sure they'll send them something. Um, hey, our quarterback played well in that game. Shuck played well in that game, threw an interception late, but outside of that, I think still took another step forward. And obviously, going into the offseason, it's all going to be about Tyler Shuck and building around him, getting him more protection on the line, getting him another receiver or two.
One of the best things as we summarize the Saints season is the development of Tyler Shuck and putting him out there for the games that they did and giving him the keys to the car and letting him learn, letting him develop. Yeah, he made mistakes, but he also showed some upside that I think is encouraging. And, if you're a receiver, you might, hey, I want to come play with this guy, Shuck, we got a young guy. I mean, he's not like young right out of college. He's 26 years old or something because he had a lot of experience in college. So that's the silver lining. And then, of course, Kellen Moore got 1 year under his belt now as a head coach. That matters. So I don't know to say. I don't know if the future's bright, but I think the future's pointed in the right direction for the Saints. They're trending correctly.
Well, the season worked out perfectly because you were able to let Spencer Rattler play, and you know, and you're able to say, okay, fine, he's not our guy, um, but he's definitely serviceable as a backup for sure. Um, and then you were able to let Shuck sit and watch. You can Monday morning quarterback all you want and go, well, hell, the Saints won 6 games with Shuck. Maybe he'd have won 3 more, and won a division if he'd have played the whole year. Who knows? But I'd probably disagree. I think there's more value in the fact he sat and watched for almost half a
Yeah.
season and got a chance to see that, let the game slow down a little bit, let the speed slow down, learn a little bit, take those couple months to watch Rattler and see what to do and what not to do and all that. So look, this was always going to be a throwaway year for the Saints. There was never any hope of them making the playoffs or anything with this roster and where they are. And so at the end of the day, they came out of this thing kind of getting out of it what you want, and that is optimism. You feel like, hey, the future has a chance to be bright. And look, I mean, look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. What, they won 4 games last year or something like that, Tommy, and then now they've got like 13 wins this year. You know what I mean, with a first year coach. So, but they had a veteran quarterback too. And so I mean, look, you don't look any further than the Jacksonville to realize that, hey, you made a big step forward with Shuck. Can you add enough to that roster, even as hamstrung as you are with the salary cap? Can you get enough pieces to put you over the top? Because the Saints, whether they go in the draft or whether they go free agent, they've got to find themselves at least one more, if not two more, go-to receivers.
I agree. And when you look at the NFC South, and that's what you got to look at, because the Saints can win the NFC South, they in the playoffs. Atlanta's going to have a new coach, new front office. Talk that Matt Ryan might be coming out of the TV booth into the front office of the Falcons. And the Buccaneers and the Panthers are not like world beaters, and I mean they're not that much better than the Saints. So I think again the Saints next year could be a good year. And again, if you can win the NFC South, it doesn't matter if somebody else wins 13, 14 games in a different division. You can get to those playoffs. So that's got to be the goal next year: is just not finish fourth in the NFC South, finish first, get in the playoffs.
The NFL, by the way, the old Black Monday type thing, 6 coaches total this year have been fired. Still waiting on the Miami job to open up. Most people don't think McDaniel over in Miami is going to survive, which would probably put you at 7. Who knows if there's a surprise in the playoffs coming with somebody gets eliminated early, maybe there's a move there. But pretty standard, at least 6 we know of. So, a 20%, potentially 20% or more of the coaches in the NFL are gonna have new head coaches. Let's talk a little LSU football for a minute. Portal is in full effect. LSU signed a couple of receivers. There's a third receiver from Old Dominion, a receiver from Hawaii, both productive. Portal transfers, both big bodies, 162, 163. So you kind of see the type of receiver that LSU's kind of going for in their system. But the quarterback has still not been selected. Levitt from Arizona State, one of the top guys on the board. He is very much the guy that I think LSU's going after. Um, Talking, visiting with LSU, was rumored to be going to Kentucky. That didn't work out. Uh, but if you don't get Levitt, Tommy, you're going to drop, because a lot of the guys that are ranked uh, uh, are off the board now. A lot of those top 10 receivers are off the board. So, if you don't get Levitt, if you don't somehow nail him down, then you might be staring down the barrel of taking somebody you didn't think you were going to take.
Yeah, I mean that's all part of it now. I mean, I'm sure they have a list of guys that they would have an interest in, and they were trying to add to that list, especially as some guys' names come off the list. So, time is important here. I mean, you got to get somebody who's willing to come into LSU. Trinidad Chambliss has come out and said if he's granted another year of eligibility, and that's an unknown, he's going back to Ole Miss. I don't know if that's 100% that's written in stone, but that's what he said. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm sure Lane Kiffin and the staff are trying to figure it out very quickly.
Um, so, uh, one of the things, TK, about the whole Levitt situation is just it, if you don't end up with Levitt, what I don't want them to do is go get Lagway. I feel like there's a lot of other quarterbacks that maybe we don't know what we're going to get out of them. I mean, who'd have ever thought Trinidad Chambliss was going to become what he became?
Right.
Guy transferring from Division II to being arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year. So, but Lagway, I feel like I've seen him play enough,
Well,
and then particularly saw him play enough last year to where I'm just not convinced. Just a change of scenery is all he needs.
and he's visited Virginia, according to reports, and there's 8 million reports out there on X and everywhere else you look. But Lagway, I'm not. I don't think he's the guy. And then somebody pointed out, Joe Burrow's stats at Ohio State the year before he came to LSU are nothing. I mean, like
Yeah, he didn't play much. Yeah,
5 passes attempted. He had 2 rushes. I mean, it was
right.
nothing. And then he wins the Heisman and has the greatest offensive season in college football history with 60 touchdowns. But no, so I mean, again, Kiffin and the staff could have to find somebody. But I agree with you. I don't think Lagway or Pickway, as he's known in Gainesville, Florida, is the answer.
But also, what's going on now in LSU football and what's going on when Burrow ended up in Baton Rouge, two different worlds. Um, this one is a situation where you've got arguably the number one offensive mind in the country as your head coach in Lane Kiffin, one of the top five programs in the country as far as brand, facilities, fan base, excitement, stadium, all that. You got one of the top one or two offensive minded coaches, top five program. You got almost as much NIL money probably to throw at a quarterback as just about anywhere else. And yet you don't have the guy locked down in hand. I mean, that just goes to show you how tough it is nowadays. And all it takes is one billionaire booster or backer or somebody and for a school to say, you know what, damn it, I don't care. Whatever it takes, I'll get it done, um, to help that situation. So uh, I'm a little nervous. I'd like to hopefully LSU lands Levitt, and then at that point you got the
Well,
coach you wanted, you got the quarterback you wanted, and now just go add more pieces, get it done.
and you got to get more than Levitt because they don't have a quarterback on the roster right now as we speak. Because Hurley is transferring, Van Buren says he's transferring. So I mean, you got to get more than Levitt. You got to get some other people in there just to have the bodies for practice, etc. So it's. I don't think it's time to push the panic button, but I think you better know where it is because LSU's got to make something happen relatively quickly. And, hey, who knows? Something may happen later today. And, of course, we'll be back again tomorrow morning for another episode of Sports Shorts Daily since we moved from Monday to today this week. But it's going to be curious to see how that unfolds.
Miami and Ole Miss. Miami, the Hurricanes find themselves a 3.5 point favorite. Indiana, 3.5 point favorite over Oregon. As we kind of get closer to the Thursday game, uh, which is Miami and Ole Miss, what's some thoughts? I mean, has anything changed in your mind?
Miami's defense against Chambliss and the Ole Miss offense with LSU OC Charlie Weiss Jr. calling the plays. Man, I'm kind of leaning to Miami in this game. The Ole Miss is, they both played 2 games, okay, but Ole Miss, got the win against Tulane. Everybody thought they would, but Miami went into A&M and won, which was tougher than Ole Miss beating Tulane. And then Ole Miss with the unbelievable game against Georgia. And Miami's just, defense, confidence, maybe some of that Hurricane swag is back. I'm leaning to Miami at this point for Thursday night's game.
I don't know what to take of Ole Miss because with all the distraction that happened with Lane and staff coming and going, didn't have an effect on them in the game in New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl, and obviously the second half came out like a house of fire. Here we are again, more distractions, more subtractions of coaches, more conversation about the future, who's going to coach him, who's not, who's staying, who's going. Even with Weiss Jr., some some name, could he be going to the NFL? There's a little rumor out there that
Well, he
that
shot
that
that down though. He came out and said he has no interest in the NFL.
okay. Well, uh, but will Weiss Jr. like
Plus, here's
is
the other thing, Ronnie. If he leaves LSU, he owes them like $7 million. Now, some NFL team could pay that and would pay it if they really wanted him. But there's
very
something in his
rare that you would
contract.
see them pay that for a coordinator.
Well, if they want him bad enough, money's not going to stop an NFL team from making a decision. Might it stop LSU or Auburn or somebody like that? Yeah, but not. But again, hey, we can go back a couple months ago. Well, you and I, we thought there was no way in hell they'd fire Brian Kelly because of
Right.
money, but they did. So I
Well,
mean, we can't we
the
can't
thing,
rule it out.
yeah, the thing that is just, and I don't blame anything about Charlie Weiss. I don't blame anything about anything, but here he is trying to pull double duty, trying to be the coordinator full time over there, work with his coaches and staff and players and all full time. Because right now, when they're not in school, I mean, they are watching film and meeting and practicing and doing as much as they can. But yet at the same time, he's got to help recruit Levitt and all these other players. So it is interesting and a wild time, and then it's easy for other schools to potentially recruit against Weiss Jr. right now a little bit, like put doubt in players' minds. Is he even going to be there? Is he going to leave? And you know whether he is or isn't, it makes it easier for other teams to kind of work against him. So I don't know, crazy times right now, weird times. I hope one day that time comes where they can get the season ending and the portal opening to where you don't have this overlap. I don't know if that'll ever happen. All right,
Well,
Tommy.
they gotta fix the calendar. Okay, let's hope it happens.
How about the end of that Pittsburgh Ravens game? I mean, the winner wins the division, and in the NFL, when that's all you do for a living, you get paid millions of dollars. You do nothing else for a living if you're a special teams player, but to kick a football or snap a football or hold a football. And yet an extra point is missed and a 44-yard field goal is, I mean, shanked um, at the end of the game. I mean, just incredible. You
Well,
knew when Pittsburgh missed that extra point that it was going to come back to haunt them.
really, I really did, but it goes back to what we always say here on Sports Shorts Daily. Pressure is real. I mean, pressure is real. We can find a lot of examples of big time sports stage where pressure got somebody to crumble, whether it be a kicker or a drop pass or baseball throwing to the wrong base like Arkansas did against LSU. I mean, pressure is real.
Pressure is real, and certain players have problems going to massage parlors and not acting right because, the Ravens could have used Justin Tucker right there, the veteran kicker, who maybe his leg isn't like it used to be, maybe his consistency isn't like it used to be, but the Hall of Famer Justin Tucker isn't missing that kick. He's
I would
not.
have to think he's not. I mean, and that's the old thing. You just never know. I mean, you got to finish the game. You got to line up and play. It's part of the beauty of sports is we don't know the outcome.
Yeah, we definitely don't. All right, TK, tell us about Court Street Cafe as we get out of here.
Well, Court Street Cafe, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week. Saturday night, steak night. Sunday brunch is a can't miss. You want to do that. Jason and the staff do a super job here. You got lunch specials, dinner specials, drink specials. Court Street Cafe, Port Allen. We want you to check it out. Many of you have. If you haven't, put it on the list and get it done. Come get a great steak Saturday night or get the Sunday brunch. No more Saints games, so come get the Sunday brunch and talk about whatever. And don't forget to like and share this show, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X. We appreciate it when you like and share this show. That helps Court Street Cafe. It helps Tremonti's. It helps Ronnie. Helps Tommy. So like and share this show. On behalf of Ronnie Rantz, I'm Tommy Krysan. Have a great day, everyone.